What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Sorry, I had to get my mic going. It's a little bit off back on there. There we go. Now it is all set. So, well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining in. This is another open live Q&A. Well, I'll go ahead and I got all opened up. Oh, shoot. And now I just literally went ahead and broke it down. So I got to bring back up the messages. So therefore, when you guys go ahead and hop on, I can answer your questions because that's what I want to do on this Sunday is go ahead and answer whatever questions you guys currently have going on. Inside of your math class or anything else, just in general, going on from there. I am very, very excited to let you guys know that I am going to continue on doing some of the math streams. I know some of you guys have been familiar with the streams that I did in the past with bringing on some math questions, and you guys go ahead and submit a lot of math questions. So I do want to promise you I am going to have an opportunity where you guys can get some of that live help. But what I've found a lot in these, Sunday streams, and I've said this before, is I really, really actually just enjoy answering questions directly, back in from on you guys of what's going on with you guys during your life, as well as what about me and my channel and my channels that I am looking to, add on to. So I did have to take a pretty monumental break in creating a lot of the content that you guys are maybe familiar. You guys might notice that I reduced a lot of my upload. I just couldn't really focus inside of my studio creating a lot of the content, but I'm back now. So I am really, really ready to get going into creating some more videos and also showcasing you guys some different ways that I want to be there for you to help you along as a math journey. Because I know we're about midway through the year, so we're not there yet. I do have a poll that I did add to this chat that I'm just kind of curious for you guys where everybody kind of stands for on there. So if you go ahead and check the poll, it's in the live stream chat, and you guys can just go and click, and let's just kind of see where everybody is. Maybe by the end of the stream, we'll go and take a look at it and kind of see where people are hopping on today, where their grade kind of currently stands, and we'll make some adjustments, from in there. So if you have a question or you want to, speak about anything, if you have a math question, I will, you can go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I am going to be getting to those answers. And if we have enough time at the end of the stream, if the questions from the chat get down a little bit low, then I'll be more than happy to open up that Google form and see what questions I can answer for you guys. So if you have just a general math question or a general question about math or about education or school, feel free to put it down in the chat and I will do my best. Well, hello, why is that showing so small? Let's go ahead and fix that. There we go. Hello. Hey, Anwar, how are you? Sir, how to conquer vectors? That's an interesting question. So, I think I need a little bit more specifics on what you are struggling with on vectors. I think if you can always imagine and think about vectors as that directed line segment, that's a lot of the things that we're doing algebraically, you can also visually represent graphically. And I think that's always been a helpful case when I've been dealing with teaching and understanding vectors is look at the graphical, the geometric approach, as well as the algebraic approach. So I need a little bit more context where to address, help you out from on there. But I think just really having that fundamental understanding of what the vectors are and what those and how they look on a graph can help you understand a lot of the algebraic process from there. I don't have any questions, but thanks for helping me pass a final exam. Oh, awesome. I failed twice and you're a good teacher. Well, thank you so much. I'm very happy that my videos could be able to help you out, and congrats for continue working on, especially after you failed. Like that's probably one of my things I'd say I'm like most proud of is if you fail, you go through that like gut punch of like, crap, I'm not good enough to continue doing this. I'm not smart enough to pass, but you stop, you keep on putting in the work, and you try it again, and look at you. Congrats. I'm very confused in a question, sir. Well, go ahead and put it down in the chat or shoot it over to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and we'll see if I can get to it at the end. Again, give me a specific problem. There's a lot I could talk about the range of functions. So if you can be a little bit more specific on that, I'll be happy to help you out. More vectors. I have not ever taught Calculus 3. So unfortunately, even though I always like to make promises that I'll eventually get to that content, I haven't taught Calculus 3. So that's probably going to be a very, very long time. But fortunately for you, there's amazing people on YouTube that also, have a ton of math content, and hopefully they can be helpful for you. Sine and cosine law. So, well, what is your question about that? Because I usually teach that over a couple days worth. So I'm not sure where you're confused or how I can help you out. But if you want to give me a little bit more context, I'll be happy to address it. All right, I got the vectors. I need more stuff on vectors. It's been a while since I taught AP Calculus, so I am not sure, to be honest with you, but I'm sure there's a lot of information. If you were to like Google search that, you'll find a lot of different documents that will provide like some AP prep exams. Obviously they, mix in, they mix in and out a lot of the topics. But yeah, you're definitely going to have your core stuff that's always going to show up on every single exam pass, since like the 1970s or however since they've been like being able to calculate or record that stuff. But yeah, I would just, take a look at it online and see, what people have provided, because it's a very serious industry, I would say, as far as mastering and being prepared for the AP exam. So there's a lot of people that take like full focus into that. So I'm sure there's some great stuff online. It's been too long since I taught it. All right, well, cool. Well, go ahead and submit it to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. I'm about to go into university. What would you suggest I learn with which booms for next month to make the first years easy for me? Well, I don't know what class you're going into or what class you're currently taking. I don't know if you have an entrance exam or if you're just trying to excel in your next course. But I think one of the things that a lot of students, when they struggle going from a course to another course or with another instructor, is the instructor is going to assume if you got a grade in a certain course that you have that foundational knowledge from that course. And unfortunately, that is just not always going to be the case. Sometimes people will do things to pass a test, like, cram or whatever else, and they didn't really truly understand what they were doing. Or sometimes we get lucky or it was an easy question and we kind of maybe have some gaps in our understanding, but we still have maybe an A or a B. So I would just recommend going back through your course or maybe even a previous course materials that you had and just make sure you feel like you have a good solid foundation of what you were supposed to take away from those courses. And then if you do, and maybe you just need to do a little practice or a little review, then you're good to go. I think usually when I always accept new students in my class, I never wanted to hold them back for any missing information that they had from previous years or from previous instructors. I always wanted to take that as my own challenge to get them up to speed. But it is on you to make sure that whatever courses you have taken, that you have some of that foundational knowledge and you are proficient in it. So therefore, it is not so much of a learning curve as you enter into your new course. I'm not sure about what exactly, in for advanced functions. Obviously, get the work done. When you have struggle, ask questions, and find some study partners that you can work on. I don't know if you're looking for any particular tips within the course material. I don't have a syllabus on that course, so I can't offer like specific advice, but, get through the work. Make sure you're doing all the practice problems, maybe even sometimes a little bit more. Find a study partner or a study group. Always keep on spiraling and review the content. Just because you learned something in chapter 1 and now you're on chapter 2, don't like all of a sudden forget chapter 1 stuff. Constantly be going back to previous chapters and just doing a light review. It doesn't need to be heavy. A quick little soft light review can pay dividends throughout the end of the year. So therefore, when it comes to the end of the year and you have to like remember everything that was taught, you've already spent time throughout the year doing little reviews. It's going to cut down on that time you have to do to study. Well, that's a very subjective question. I mean, it all depends. It depends on your experience in with math, your foundational, understanding in mathematics. I think in general, the SAT and ACT are not designed to trick you or to see how smart you are, especially when you kind of compare them to some other different international exams. But they're there to kind of see if you have a fundamental understanding of what they would want you to know to be successful in a college, level courses. So I think in a general front, no, is not designed to be a very difficult test. But it is designed to have some differentiating standards where you're going to have people that are at the top end and at the low end. So there's going to be some challenge in there that they're going to try to differentiate. people's success. Obviously, if everybody just passed the SAT, then it wouldn't be a very reliable source of where do people stand, with that information. So obviously it's there to test students, but I think it's not designed to, kind of be like this. You have to reach this certain point, or we will really want to test the people to see how intellectually smart they are. Why do you want my email? You can just go ahead and message me and I'll be happy to get your questions. Or also, if you want a direct response to me, you can go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A and I will read all of the responses there. It's kind of like an email. I have a math test Thursday and 5 concepts he's teaching on Tuesday. Our only class before Thursday will be on the Thursday test. Tips for studying. Wow, that's a lot. And yeah, that's tough too. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, there's been times that, we'll miss class for whatever reason. It could be a fire drill. It could be a pep rally, whatever else. And like, it's just the reality. Like maybe all the classes got an extra 2 or 3 periods. And then this one class, like, sorry, you guys missed class for whatever reason. I need to make sure I get this content into you. And to stay on pace, we're going to have to take this quiz or this test or whatever assessment on Thursday, right? Or Friday, whatever it may be. And it's reality, right? I mean, things like this happen in real life. It might not always be fair, but I think what you just need to do is like, make sure on that Thursday, once you've gone over that material, you go over it immediately, as deep and as much as you can. Go through all of that work, because basically you have one prep day Wednesday that for whatever you didn't fully understand or whatever you didn't get to from like Tuesday night, you have opportunity to ask questions or to review it again or to go a little bit deeper. So your just timeline is shrunk, right? So your timing to either digest the information as well as to get help is less and less than it probably typically would be, if, for whatever reason. So I would just advise, like, once that Tuesday happens and all that stuff's fresh in your brain, make sure you go through all of the work, do everything, like really kind of cram through going through all that stuff, and then have Wednesday as a day to kind of review and make sure that you hit on everything, got all your questions and everything else answered, and you feel ready and prepared as best you can for Thursday. I have exactly 8 months for a universe exam. It has 40 math questions. How do you study properly? I know some kind of level, but I have a B12 issue. I know some kind of level, but I have a B12 issue. I'm not sure if that means like an energy. What can you advise, professor? So I think you're at a really good spot with 8 months to go. And I have a video that, if you look on my channel, it talks about like, studying for your exam, and it kind of gives like that format. I think even maybe like 4 months or maybe even 5 months in advance. So you got plenty of time. And, cause even worried about even 8 months now, you're still going to be learning a lot of stuff. So constantly to be doing review, or doing a heavy, review, you're not going to have all the information, presented to you. But the one thing that I previously mentioned, applies to you. Like, start doing some little reviews now. Once you passed a chapter, a test, a quiz, quickly once a week's passed or a month has passed, go back and start reviewing that stuff. Just little reviews, light reviews. It doesn't need to be a lot, 15, 20 minutes. That's it. You don't need to do a heavy review, because obviously you're still working through the major content, right? You got to still put time in from there. I think the really big thing for you is creating a cheat sheet. So going back when you're doing those low light reviews, go back through those tests, quizzes, homework, new notes, and start extracting some of the problems as well as definitions and formulas that you feel are like the most important, and just rewrite them down on a cheat sheet. And by the end of like your course, you'll probably have like, 8, depending on how many chapters or modules you kind of go through, you have like 8 to 10 like cheat sheets, pieces of paper. Those are going to be what I would recommend you continually be using to kind of do those light little reviews. And obviously, as you get closer and closer to your test, you're just going to ramp up the amount of time that you're going to spend doing reviewing. And it's going to start transferring from just doing light reviewing to doing some practice problems and so on and so forth. So it's really just a ramp up. Right now, do something light. As you get closer and closer, like under 3 months, then you can start doing a little bit more longer reviews to 30 minutes to an hour. And then get, really, really heavy into it. And then you start tapering off a little bit as you come into test week. I need a little bit more information on range functions or what you're looking for help on. Do you primarily teach more pre-calculus than any other type of math? Yeah, so if you were to look at like my channel, I'd probably say I have more pre-calculus content than anything else. So that's just the reality. I taught pre-calculus the most in the school setting. So that's why I have the most amount of that content on my YouTube channel. But I taught everything from Algebra 1 all the way through calculus. And I'm continually making more videos on all those different courses as well. Hi, I was wondering if there are any tricks that would help to prove and solve trigonometric identities. Yeah, there's a lot. I think I'll give you like one little tip is one to make sure you know your trigonometric identities. So I would write them down on a sheet of paper and always have them by your side whenever you are doing, I believe you're referring to also like verifying trigonometric identities, like make sure you always have them by your side. So therefore you can review them. I think one thing that's also very, very helpful is, I mean, I have like a whole video going through all these, kind of things much more in detail. But I think one of the biggest things is converting things to sines and cosines, extremely helpful. And also, if that doesn't, sometimes the algebra still can be a little confusing. So students are, we used to be used with numbers, and then we got into variables. And they'd be like, why can't everything just be in numbers again? Like variables is confusing. But then once we start using algebraic concepts with like sines and cosines and trig functions, that even gets confusing again. And I'm like, all right, we'll just use X's and Y's. And students are like, oh, that actually makes the math a lot easier. So sometimes when you are applying algebraic concepts, replacing sine with Y and cosine with X and tangent, with Y over X, that can make the algebra a little bit more easier sometimes to get going from on there. So I would just, one, looking through sines and cosines, making sure you have those identities so you can understand which identity would be most conducive to apply. And then sometimes also converting your sines and cosines to X and Y's to make the algebra a little bit easier. How do you differentiate between sine and cosine laws? I do not recall the exact ones. Let's see if I can remember off the top of my head. So the law of sines is going to work when you have side angle, and I would assume angle, no, not angle, side angle, side angle, and then angle side. Yeah. So yeah, angle side, and also side angle, which would be only HL, which is going to be the thing, or going to be the ambiguous case. And then what's the other one? Side angle side. No, side. That'd be the law of cosines. Angle side angle. Maybe that would be angle side angle, and then you'd have that other, or angle side, which I already talked about. Dang it, which one is it? Angle side. Yeah, I forget on things. But if you go and look at the law of sines and law of cosines, there's ones where you can only use the law of sines and ones you can only use the law of cosines. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but when you're doing a live stream and you put yourself on the hot seat, things are just gonna get mixed up. So I apologize. It's pretty like definitive which one is which. I just can't recall, and I don't want to grab a textbook just to remind my memory. But a quick little Google search will tell you which one exactly you can use. Hi, Brian. May I ask, what are the best qualities in becoming a great and unique math teacher? It's a great question. I'm actually going to put that, I'm going to make that as a poll question, because, hi, Brian, may I ask, what are the best qualities in becoming a great, unique math teacher? I think, man, that's a loaded question. There's a lot I want to think about and say, but I'll just kind of go through a couple of points that come off the top of my head. And then you guys can maybe add into the chat some other thoughts you guys have. And I'll probably add this as a poll or as a poll question on my channel, because I really want to hear more responses. I think a couple of things that come to mind is, as far as I'm a good math teacher, is having empathy for students, because students are going to struggle. It's very easy to always, cater to the students that are the strongest in math or do the best. But I think a teacher that can understand where students are at their current level, which gets difficult. It really is something difficult, especially when you have a degree in mathematics and then trying to relate and understand a student struggling in like algebra 1 can be difficult. So I think having empathy for students with their mathematical understanding, I think having the ability to also explain things in a simple way. That's the one thing I miss about teaching is students could always ask me questions. And so even though I had something in my brain, the way I wanted to explain it, if when students would ask questions, it gave me an opportunity to understand what it is they weren't understanding and gave me an opportunity to say, stop, slow down. Let's break this down a little bit further, or let's give them a like sidebar example so they can understand why what I'm doing or why what I'm doing makes sense in that regard. So I think breaking things down into a simple approach, having empathy for students, and then also I think being able to motivate and raise the bar, raise the standard for the students. I think my greatest accomplishment that I always felt that I had as a teacher was my ability to be able to make students do something that they didn't feel they were capable of. And of course, I wasn't able to reach each and every student that I had. But when I had students from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, and you can see the growth that they had, and you can see sometimes the doubt and the frustrations and the struggles they had at the beginning of the year, but you saw them listen to you. You saw them take action and put in the work, and you see what they were able to accomplish by the end of the year. That's the thing I love. I mean, man, if you could just bottle that up, I would do that every single day. But unfortunately, it's, just like it is for a student, it requires some wins and some losses. And that's the tough thing and the beauty about being a teacher is you're not going to be able to reach every single student like that. You're not going to be able to get the most of them. But, sometimes it might take a year or 2 years. Sometimes you won't have an impact on a student until like 4 years later or till, they graduate and something you said still sticks with them and then they apply it. You just can't bottle up always the win and the good things. And that's only going to be true if you also take in the bad, with teaching and the struggles and the frustrations that's on the teacher side. But man, that is me, the epitome of a good teacher is being able to motivate and help guide students to achieve more than they feel they're capable of. That's a coach, that's a trainer, anything else. When you're able to dial that in for your students, I think that's just where the magic happens. I want to say thanks for helping me in high school math. You're very welcome. Currently taking Calc 2 and doing thanks. Good to do fundamental stuff. Well, awesome. So happy to help you out and best of luck in Calc 2. You got this. By the way, thanks. You helped me get an A+ in my 10th grade algebra too. Awesome. So happy to help you out. Hi, I have a pre-calculus text in a week. Can you explain how I have to evaluate their domain of an inverse function? So if you want to find the domain of the inverse function, just go ahead and find the inverse of the function and then if you want to find the domain of the inverse function. Okay. So, just find the inverse of the function and then find the domain of that inverse. Another kind of like trick you can look into, remember the domain of a function is the range of its inverse. The range of the function is the domain of the inverse. So what I mean by that is, let's say you have a function and you know what the domain and the range is. Well, the range of that function is the domain of its inverse. So sometimes finding the range can be simplistic and you can know it. Sometimes it's more difficult to find the range of a function. So the best approach would be to find the inverse of that function and then be able to identify the domain of the inverse. Because again, the domain of the inverse is the range of the function. Hopefully that makes sense. Whenever I'm teaching that concept, that's something I say over and over and over again. So hopefully it sticks with my students, but I only have you for 30 seconds. So hopefully that made sense. Sir, how do I conquer word problems? Please reply, make my day easier. Well, unfortunately, if I could say something in 30 seconds that would help you conquer word problems, I would just be like a magic man. Word problems are tough. I don't even like doing word problems, right? So it's normal. And I think the easiest thing you just need to understand is, there's two things on a word problem. There's the word problem and then there's the math. So the best that you can take a word problem, extract the information that you have and that and what you are looking for, and create an algebraic representation. the easier that solving that math problem is going to do. And again, that's a lot easier said than done. I totally get it. But I will say this, the more practice you do with word problems, the better and the easier they get. You start to see patterns, like math is difficult, but also math is about patterns and about repeated events. So I think if you can practice working through those, word problems, you're going to start seeing, even there might be other word problems and, talking about different things, you start to see though, a lot of the same language and they're looking for the exact same thing. So therefore you can start being a little bit more comfortable with like, oh, this is very similar to one I did before. I know how to approach this problem. It's not always the case, but at least that gives you, I think, some resemblance of common problems and common ways that word problems are structured. I have a lot of videos on integration, but it's been a while since I taught integration. So it's probably not something I would handle in the live stream. I need to polish myself up with that. Hyman 7HN. Sorry, I don't know what that is. Are there any websites I can use that can help study with math? There's a ton of websites out there to help study with math. You're now at the point where you guys have everything you can possibly learn is available. What's going to work for you or what's best for you? I would just spend some time going and looking and see what's available out there and see what relates. There's going to be some websites that go much more in depth, and there's going to be other problems that kind of speak more in general terms. So everybody's going to want and look for something different. Just go and explore. And if anybody has any websites they have used in the past, put them down in the chat and let's, kind of get a little library that we can kind of explore and see, hey, this helped out this person. Maybe it might help me out. I don't know, but I would just, start from there. Hey, I want to thank you for helping me as much as I got an A on my intermediate algebra exams. Thanks for your videos. Well, you are very welcome. I'd like to know if it is the same the way you work out trapezium and other shapes. Well, I don't know what you mean. Like, what do you work out trapezium? Like, where are you trying to find like area or perimeter? Like, what are you referring to? Hey, Usama. I am doing very, very well. I am actually very energetic and excited to get it going on this live stream. Do you give ACT practices? No, I'm just not a big proponent of ACT. I do have some like playlists on ACT, and I'll probably maybe even create some more content around it. I don't know. I struggled with math when I was growing up, and I really kind of focus on the students wanting to understand and learning mathematics. And there's nothing wrong with taking SAT prep courses. That's something I recommend, or religiously studying over the SAT. I just don't love the examinations. I just don't feel like they give such a great, like a good resemblance of what you understand and what you're capable of. I totally understand the merit of them and why they're used and how they're used. I just don't feel they're the best use of, attaching yourself to a score that I've just decided that it's just not going to be a big focus for me. I would actually say trigonometric identities. I really, really like teaching trigonometric identities. They're just fun. They're like little puzzles. So like verifying trigonometric identities, I just like that stuff. Oh, we already got to that one. So I graduated last month by my sir told me for a job, but it's been an online mood by using Concept Board. I worked but not fulfill requirements. Please guide me how to teach students in initial. Unfortunately, sorry, I just don't understand, but it's an online by using Concept Board. Sorry, if you want to maybe reword that one more time, I'll try to answer it the best I can. Yo, what's up? I don't know why I haven't heard yo, what's up in a long time. Well, hey, how you doing? Oh, that's a good question. I like that. I've submitted the problem. All right. Geez, I'll try to go. I'll see if I can get it. If you have a math question, go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to be able to get to every single buddy's question if you guys are submitting them, but I will try to do my best to get to questions that have been submitted. No, not that one. Where is that form? There you go. How are you smart? I'm not smart. I'm not smart. I worked very, very hard to be able to do a lot of the math that you see me working, making on videos, but also I do a lot of math every single day. So anytime somebody does something over and over and over again, it's going to make you think like they are very, very good at it, which of course it becomes more natural the more and more you do it. So, but no, I think innately I'm not any more smart than you are. Trigonometric algebra presence. All right, I'll go and take a look at it and see what I can. Well, thank you, Leva. I appreciate that. Hey, Leska. Do you think imaginary numbers, well, I'm not really sure what you mean in a general math career, but yeah, I think, the imaginary number system, even though I didn't go really, really in depth, they hold a very, very kind of important branch in mathematics. So yes, I would not discount imaginary numbers. Just want to say thank you. Your channel helped me through my high school math. Now, 6 years later, I'm a vet returning to college. Thank you for your service for mechanical engineering and finding your channel available again. Well, awesome. That is so cool. It's been years and years, and look who's still at it. I'm still going for you, and I'm so happy for you going back into school and pursuing your degree. So happy to be able to help you out and keep working hard. Can any algebraic expression alternate between variables a to z if it's a polynomial? I'm not sure what you exactly mean by alternate between variables. But yeah, you can have a polynomial with multiple variables. No. Well, yes, you can technically, but yeah, I'm not sure what you mean exactly with the alternating variable front. I'm taking pre-calculus and algebra 2 at the same time. Wow, congratulations. Do you have any helpful advice on how to succeed? I haven't met a lot of students that take algebra 2 and pre-calculus at the same time, because they're kind of like a stepping stone courses. That's like taking pre-calculus and calculus at the same time. Obviously there's a lot of overlap, so I think that is a benefit to you, but there's obviously some non-overlaps that you're going to have, and some things in pre-calculus that we really want students to know from algebra 2, right? So that might be some things that you might need to struggle with, or, as they kind of come. But I think the main important thing is, just trying to set aside enough time to be able to get the work done. And obviously, I think by focusing on the pre-calculus, that's going to make, I think, doing a lot of the algebra 2 stuff easy for you. I'm not sure if you're just taking algebra 2 because you need the credits, or if you actually need to take the course and understand it, but maybe the pre-calculus material doesn't overlap as much. At least in our school, we had a lot of overlapping content between functions and polynomials and even some trig. But yeah, I mean, obviously you got to make sure that you have the foundational stuff from algebra 2 to be, successful in the pre-calculus. But and obviously the pacing's not always going to align, so that's kind of tough. But I think just maybe separating enough time, because taking 2 math courses, which I've done before, can take up a lot of your time. So I would just make sure you designate enough time to be able to do the work and do what you need to do, to put in that work. And I wouldn't say focus one course more than the other. But, obviously if you start to struggle, that's going to be something you might want to have a conversation with your teacher, your professor, your parents, and your counselor to see what's going to be the right fit, for you, is either taking one or the other to focus on, more than the other course. Have you ever went to Karen's Diner? No, I've never been to Karen's Diner. Write the quadratic equation with the given roots, -4 and 7. Can you answer? Yes, go ahead and submit to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And therefore I'll try to see if I can get some math done for you guys on this live stream. I'll try to get through these questions. And then, yeah, at that point I can pull it up on the board and post it up there. What is your average grade in high school and percentages in grade 11, 12? Is that a question for everybody? I'm not sure, but I'm assuming that was. Hi, I'm here just to thank you for your help regarding sines and cosines law and all the other exams that you helped me get an A+ on. Well, awesome. So happy to be able to help you out. And somebody else asked about law, science law, cosine. So it makes me feel good. At least I know there's a lot of good content out there, hopefully, that can help everybody else out. Do you have any advice for students who are studying abstract algebra? Solving equations is easy, but when it comes to understanding and proving theorems, it's so hard. Yes, I've told this story before, but I remember really struggling for abstract algebra when I was a student. And one thing that I did is I went to office hours like every single day that I could with my professor. I just needed a helpful understanding. I needed more time to digest that information. So when you get to upper level courses, sometimes you feel alone because there's not like a tutor lab, and there's less and less people that understand that level of mathematics. But I think it's so important to have a study group or have a study partner, and even be able to utilize your professor that you can rely on just to get those questions to help you further your understanding, right? You don't want to go at things alone, especially when you're struggling. So find someone or something to be your support through there that you can bounce questions, ideas, and study with. I went to Western Michigan University. You're very welcome, Carly. Math anxious in middle school. That's a good one. Any advice for new math teachers? I talked about math teaching in the beginning, or what makes a good math teacher. I would probably just refer back to that. I'll see if I can remember them though. The first one I think is having empathy. Like, you really got to understand students carry so much weight on them, and every single day is different. So I think having empathy for the students, where they're at, how those grades, how their struggles sometimes can impact them. I think that's number one. Number two is being able to take concepts that are very abstract or difficult and really trying to simplify them. So therefore you get those light bulb moments. And number three is being able to raise the standards of your students, being able to motivate them to become something that they never thought they were capable of. I think those are three things that all great math teachers can have. Just started college, and there's three. I'm gonna write that down. Strong math teacher. Sorry, I just want to write that down because I don't want to forget that. Because I think that's a good post to have. What you think is empathy, easy understand, and raise standards. Okay. Hey, Masad. Sorry, I do not have any specific advice for that. Show me how to graph. Is the 2 in front of the F, or where is that from? Go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. Either take a picture or submit it into there, and that'll be the easiest. Once I get into the math, I'm not gonna go back through this chat. So if you go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, I can go and find it. I have a video on this that I'll look into making for you, but it really just kind of comes into, if you could actually submit this question to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, I'll give you a quick little review, because the video I have that I want to make is how to memorize the 3 trigonometric graphs like quickly, fast, because you really only need 4 points. And with those 4 points, you can understand what the graphs of sine, cosine, and tangent are going to look like. So I would submit that, so therefore I can kind of do a refresh for you if you like, once I bring up my whiteboard, or just wait, I guess, for that video to come out, which I wouldn't recommend. No, what's wrong with my bald head? Bald's good. Research-based subject does not earn money, let alone even mathematics. Your thoughts? I would have to think more and look more into that argument. I don't think that is off the top going to be, I'm not sure what you mean earn money. I mean, they're definitely going to have some money. If you're going to say like that's the easiest way to be rich, then I'd maybe say like I agree with you, but I'd have to look a little bit more into it before I gave an opinion. I don't remember. It's been a couple years since I taught calculus, so I would get rid of e to the x is e to the x. That's exponential, but not logarithmic, but there you go. But yeah, I kind of forgot. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure a quick little Google search and they'll pop right up. Thank you for helping me in math. I went from learning fourth grade functions in early 10th grade and went from completing Algebra 1 by self-learning and watching your vids. Now I'm on Algebra 1A, 1 in A. Well, awesome. So happy to help you out. Well, math, I mean, what else can I say? I think with geometry, whenever students struggle with geometry, you got to make sure you have like a booklet of the definitions, the formulas, the postulates, everything in. But again, if you're like have something that you can always have next to your side, because geometry just has so much of that extra content information. If you don't remember it or if you don't have it accessible to you, it can make the problem so much more difficult. Too strong. You really need to understand what tools you're going to use to solve and apply each problem. But in reality, the quickest way to be able to get help, and if you're struggling in a course, is to get a tutor or to get a study group or to get a friend that you can do the work with, somebody that you feel comfortable struggling in front of, somebody you feel comfortable asking questions. I say it over and over, but when you're struggling, don't struggle alone. Get help. Find somebody you can even just do the work with, and it can just give you so much more confidence, and also it can be a little bit more enjoyable. I know math cannot be enjoyable, but if you have other people to share the frustrations with, that can sometimes be a positive. I'm a Calc 1. In college, I did not pass algebra and trig. Can you recommend any good books I can buy to learn those? I do not have any recommendations for books. I would just recommend maybe, going. I mean, there has to be some trig. I know there's some trig books like on Amazon or an algebra books, or even if you go to your local library, there's probably some books that you can get for free that you can check out for free and just kind of work through some problems. And I'm sure even some online courses like a Udemy or something like that can give you or even on YouTube can give you a quick little review of the content that you would need, or a good refresher. Which is a good question. Which is a good course idea. Hi, I'm taking Calc AB in 9th grade. It'd be hard. Any tips? You got to put in the work, but it's not a race. If you start to struggle or you're getting overwhelmed and it's taking you doing that course is taken away from your other courses or from, your life, and it's just going crazy and you're stressed out and you're frustrated, I would maybe have a hard conversation with your parent, your teacher, and a counselor, and just kind of seeing what's the best path. I don't know where you want to go and what your past has been. So this might be the right course for you. I don't know. I don't know enough about you, but it's not a race. And so I just don't want you to keep on pushing through. If it's, cause mostly I taught Calc AB to juniors and seniors. So I didn't deal with freshmen ever. But again, you got to this point for a reason. So that tells me you obviously have, a strong background, and you are very, motivated and putting in the work and very bright. However, I also just don't want you to overlook other opportunities that are around you, going through high school and stuff like that. So that's, so yeah, just monitor it and just keep a track of it. And if it doesn't feel like it's the right year to be taking that course and you're struggling and you're missing out on other things, have that conversations with the right people to kind of determine what's the best, next step. I'm not sure. Are you talking about like the domain interval notation? I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to. I don't do anything for my scalp. So I don't even I just use soap. That's it. I don't have any shampoo or conditioner or moisturizer, just soap. If you have a specific question, go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I can go and take a look at how to help you with that. Otherwise, I have a ton of examples on exponential equations. Both. It all depends, but I'd say anywhere from algebra 2 and pre-calculus, and range from on there, or even geometry, algebra 2 and pre-calculus. That's a range of, usually most 10th graders in the United States, I would say. I usually get 3 out of 20 on my math in high school. Now I'm in university. I really don't know what to do, and the exams are so close. Do you have any advice, since I don't even too much time to restart from zero. Go to the tutor lab immediately, every single day. Go to that tutor lab that you have at your university and get help. Make sure that you are understanding every single assignment, every single quiz, every single test, every single problem that you get wrong. Make sure you go over it and put in the time. And the reason why I'm giving you this advice is because this is exactly what I did when I was in high school. So we had a tutor lab. It was free tutoring. That was around when I was in college. So I'm hoping that's still around for you. But I took advantage of it. Every single day I went to the tutoring lab. Every single day I went over all of my homework, my quizzes, my tests. I would made sure that I understood the information. Because yeah, I, just like you, struggled with math in high school. I didn't understand stuff that I was supposed to understand, even though I got the grade for it. So I was determined, since I wanted to become a math teacher and have a math degree, I had to make sure I knew that stuff. So go to the tutor lab, get help, even if it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. You have something you have to overcome. You know it. It's going to require you putting in the work. Do it. Of course, students got 100%. Yeah, there is no good or bad. There's no race. So yes, Algebra 1 in 8th grade is awesome. Algebra 1 in 9th grade is cool. Algebra 1 in 7th grade is cool. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Put in the work, do your best, and continue pushing yourself. That's all I care about. That's all your teachers should care about. That's all your parents should care about, is you putting in the best effort. Don't worry what other people are doing. Focus on yourself. I'm actually not sure either. So I apologize for that. Matrix algebra. I mean, the only thing I could think about is algebra with a lot of matrices, which would be like linear algebra. So difference between algebra and matrix algebra. So I'm assuming matrix algebra is maybe just another way we talk about with linear algebra. That's my only thought that initially comes into my head, but I'm not 100% sure. Well, I mean, you can just Google search that. I mean, I guess I could say it, but it's kind of hard to spit out the formulas on the word problem. But yeah, I mean, if you type in law sines, law cosines, I have a ton of videos. The formulas will pop up right on a Google search as well. But I have a lot of problems of me going through the examples as well too. Yeah, so just remember, parentheses means that the value is not included. Bracket means that the value is included. So I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, I see what you're saying, Matthew. So if you have a more specific question on that, then let me know. Or how to apply that, I'd need some more examples from there. Question: when you make embarrassing mistakes, even when practicing a lot, does it mean you don't know or just unfamiliar with the concept? I think it can be both. I mean, obviously you can have a brain fart. It happens all the time. I have hundreds of videos that have mistake on YouTube. Some of them I caught, some of them I haven't. I don't think that every single mistake I've made is because I didn't understand the concept or was unfamiliar to me. You're definitely capable of having brain farts. However, there's definitely some times where it's like you made a mistake and then you have to question, why did I make that mistake? And then you start to really kind of question your understanding of things. And then you start to learn, maybe I need to, I understand this now of this problem where I didn't before, and maybe it might make you less acceptable of making those mistakes. So it could. I don't think it necessarily always does. All right. Thank you for clarifying that. I have no idea then. Linear algebra and matrix algebra. I have no idea. Thank you for asking a question, but I apologize. I do not know the answer. I mean, it all depends. I don't think usually when students would take my Algebra 2 course or even my calculus or pre-calculus course and we got to conic sections, they usually liked getting into conic sections with ellipses and parabolas and hyperbolas. That was usually kind of like, I would say, an algebraic break for them. So obviously there's some hard problems, just like anything else. But I would say overall in the concepts where students struggled the most, ellipses was not one of them that I would say ranked very high. You're the best. My teacher does not teach. I'm sorry about that. And I watch your videos and they help a lot. Well, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for that. That's a good question. There's a lot of tutor apps out there that people connect with tutors. I don't have anyone that I get a lot of them that always reach out to me to do advertisements for. But yeah, so I don't, I'm trying to recall some of them that do that, but I'm not sure who they are. So I just completed Math 1 recently, and I won't be doing Math 2 since my course that I'm doing currently does Math 1, but I want to take Math skills to the next legal level. I mean, just find your own curriculum, go online, find, a course, find, some documents and just put in the extra work, right? Just do it in the evenings or secondary. Like, it's up to you how much you want to go into and keeping that foundation strong. So I love it. I love hearing it. But I don't have anything necessarily to offer to you. But I mean, there's tons of courses and there's tons of materials that I say, as long as you're being consistent, putting in the work, you can definitely do it. Bro, you single-handedly carried my entire academic career. Well, thank you so much. So happy to be able to help you out. Awesome. Sweet. All right, wow, geez. It's possible to go back to college after a 4-year break and catch up to your peers. Yeah, of course. I'm still friends with guys that I went to college with. Just saw them this past summer. So yeah, it's definitely. I think they have invaluable content. So I love Khan Academy. My goal when I started my channel was to always get more videos and subscribers than Khan Academy. I'm a little bit low on the subscriber count, but I have more videos than Khan Academy. So I've always been proud of that. It's okay. It's fine. Accept it. Thank you. I love it. Now create a game plan of what you're going to do about it, right? So you understood you struggle. You understood there's things that are difficult for you. They take a little time. That's fine. You're normal. Accept it. Now, what are you going to do about it? That's what I'm going to challenge you for. Or that's what I'm going to challenge you on. No, there's a lot more in Algebra 2 that expands upon Algebra 1. Yes, physics was very hard for me. I do not like physics. I failed it first time I went through. Well, I wouldn't say I failed it. I think I had like a D or a C, and I was taking Calc 2 at the time. And it was just taking so much of my time to like pass the course. And really, obviously, as a math teacher, I needed to focus on Calc 2. So I was like, why am I spending all this time studying for physics? It's not even in part of my major. So I ended up just failing the course, stopped studying, stopped going because it was already past the drop period. So I had to fail the course, retake it. And then I think I got a C or a B the second time I took it. I was taking an easier math course so I could focus more on it. But yeah, it didn't come natural to me. Awesome. Well, best of luck. Hey, Arav, good to have you on, as always. I don't know what you mean by hard enough and nice. Put in the work. How do I get better? All right, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get to some math. Let's answer your question because I didn't answer your other one. Do you think in math, it's important to actually understand what you're doing while doing the workings out or just memorize the method? I think you're giving yourself a disservice if you're just memorizing things to get by. And I get it, right? I don't know what you want to do with your education or where you want to go. And sometimes going into having to take in a math course is not part of your plan and you just need to get by. So I understand from that perspective. Sometimes people just need to get by for whatever degree or whatever place they're going. But from somebody that has taken a lot of math courses and has found the beauty that math has offered to me and the understanding that comes along with having a true, genuine understanding of a lot of math concepts, not at all even close to a high level understanding of math concepts, but I'd just say maybe a lot compared to everybody on the stream, whatever. That I think you're doing yourself a disservice not further deep diving and making sure that you understand what you are learning from on there. So I have a lot more to say on it, but I'll keep that brief. Awesome. I love that. I think just because a lot of the algebra that you need for geometry comes from Algebra 1. But yeah, I know it sometimes doesn't make any sense from students going from algebra to, Algebra 1 and then going into trigonometry or Algebra 1, geometry, Algebra 2. That's why a lot of the integrated math courses come about where you take a little bit of each course and just build upon those skills. All right, I am going to try to get to some math problems. let's go and see if I have these on you guys. And you guys keep on pushing questions. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some good questions. Thank you so much for these. I'm taking pre-calc. You already sent that question. I love that. Answer that one. Oh, you guys got to send in pictures from on there. That's too. I'm not going to be reading those questions. MCS underscore EE. What is your name? Because I'm not seeing any pictures of trigonometric identities that you sent in. You said you gave me a question and you were the first one to ask me to do a math problem, but I'm not seeing any math problems that you sent in. So if you can let me know on your identity, I believe it was. That was back on from there. All right. Well, never mind. We got some other questions, but nothing that people put as a picture that I could display on there. No, I never got into math competitions. I did have I was the head of our math competition or like a math competition group or club that we had in my school, but I never actually got into them. God, why do you guys spam? What? I thought people didn't spam anymore. What happened to that? People still spam, I guess. Jeez. No, that stinks. Yeah, spammers. Come on. If you have a question, please submit it at brianmclogan.com/Q&A. That's a great question. If you submit it at brianmclogan.com/Q&A, I'll make sure I make a video on it. Oh, no, I do not know the organic chemistry. No, I do not know the organic chemistry tutor personally. So we've actually never met or exchanged any messages. So I am a fan of his content, but that's about it. Yes, I do really love math. I know, but I don't even know what your question was about. I don't see any math from there you had. All right. I apologize, but I'm not seeing the math question and I'm already at my hour long because you guys, every single time you guys take questions, you guys take my whole hour. No, what I mean is I don't have time to do more math problems now because I just been answering your questions. So to solve this, I am going to create another live stream where I will just exclusively work on math problems. So I apologize for you guys that submitted math questions. I am going to create that opportunity for you guys to answer your questions, and I will look forward to letting you guys know how to do that, or how you guys can join the math only streams. All right, I'll talk to you guys next week. Cheers.